All right, so today we're going to talk about two-step word problems. And really what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to be able to identify information. So what you have on your desk is you have a copy of the notes that I have up here on my smartboard. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with example 1, and we're basically going to go through a 5-step process to determine the correct answer for the problem. So in this problem it says that Nick opens a savings account with $50. Each week after, he deposits $15. In how many weeks will he have saved $500? So the first thing is to underline any key information. That's always our first step, okay? Underline any key information. So when we read through this, it says Nick opens a savings account with $50, okay? So we know he opens, change the size of my pencil here. All right, he opens a savings account with $50. Then it says each week after, he deposits $15. That's important information. So in how many weeks will he have saved? So we want to know what he saves total, $500. So what we've done here is we've basically taken out a lot of the wordage and we've identified what the important parts of this question is asking. Next, in step 2, it says we want to write a let statement. So what does our variable represent? So we want to figure out what our variable represents here. So when we read this, it says Nick opens a savings account with $50. Each week he deposits $15. So basically Nick is going to be putting $15 into his account every week. So in this case, if he's putting $15 in his account every week, then when we multiply $15 times the variable is going to represent how many what? Weeks. So here we're going to say that X is going to be equal to the number of weeks. Now after we have that, we can then step into step number 3, write an equation. So to write an equation for this, we know that we have to have basically 3 different things. Okay, we have to have an output, we have to have a coefficient with a variable, and we have to have a constant. We've talked about those 3 things in previous lessons. So in this case, we want to start with how much he had originally in his savings. That would be the starting point, or how much he originally has. So in this problem, it said that he opens a savings account with $50. So that's how much he starts out with. So he already has $50 in his account, no matter what he does. Now it says after each week, he's going to add $15 to his deposit. So if he's going to add that amount, we're going to put plus $15, and that's going to be $15 for every week. So every week would be X, because we said X represents the number of weeks. And then it says in how many weeks will he have saved $500. So eventually, he's going to save $500. So that means total, or equal to, $500. So by using the information in this problem, we've set up an equation so that we can solve the problem that we're working with. So after we have our equation, the next step, step 4, this goes back to what we talked about yesterday, is solve the 2-step equation. So if we wanted to solve this equation, we have 50 plus 15x equals 500. So to solve, we want to take and subtract 50 from both sides. 50s are going to cancel out on the left side, and we're going to be left with 15x is equal to 500 minus 50 is going to be 450. Next, we want to take and divide 15 on both sides. 15s are going to cancel out on the left side and leave us x equals, and then 450 divided by 15 is going to give me what? 30. So when we look at this, we can see that x is going to be equal to 30. Now, what this means, since x is the number of weeks, right? We said it was the number of weeks in the problem. Then x equals 30 means that we save money for how many weeks to get to $500? 30 weeks. So we've saved the money over the course of 30 weeks to get to our answer of $500. Now it says in step 5, reread the question and does your answer make sense? So when we look at the question again, it says that Nick opens a savings account with $50. After each week, he deposits $15. So how many weeks will it take for him to save $500? So it kind of makes sense for us to plug in 30 here and see what our answer comes out to be. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this 30 and I'm essentially just going to plug it back into this x to make sure it makes sense. So with this, I have 50 plus 15x, which is going to be 30, equals 500. Oh, one too many zeros. All right, so we can work this out with our calculator, so it'd be nice to have a calculator for this. We can actually just plug this all into the calculator and see if it equals 500, or we can solve it out. So first thing we want to do is we want to say 15 times 30, and that's going to give us 450. And that should be equal to 500. So then 450 plus 500, or my bad, 450 plus 50 is going to be 500. So here we get 500 is equal to 500. So if those two are equal, then we know our answer is correct. All right, so if you need to write down anything, you can pause the video at this point. Also, if you want to, I want you to go ahead and take a second and look at example 2 and see if you can work example 2 out before you actually watch the next example. So now that you finished example 2, I want to take a second and kind of look back at it and see if you got the answer correct. So in example 2, it says Alex rents a car for 1 day. He charges $18 plus 12 cents per mile. Alex wants to spend exactly $30. How many miles can he drive? So first it says step 1, underline the key information. So here, it doesn't really matter that Alex rents a car, but we do need to know that he has it for 1 day. Also, it's important to know that he was charged $18 plus 12 cents per mile, and that he also wants to spend exactly $30. So the important information or key information here is the $18, 12 cents per mile, plus the 1 day he has it, and then $30. Next, it says step 2, write a let statement. So in that, we're going to figure out what the variable represents. So let's figure out what the variable represents. So here we have $18 plus 12 cents per mile. So we're going to charge 12 cents every what?
Every mile.
Every mile. So here we could say, let's just change our variable up. What if we said m equals the number of miles? So number of miles. All right, we could say m equals the number of miles. So really the variable doesn't always have to equal x. We can actually change the variable up to be whatever it wants to be. All right, so after we know what the variable represents, we're then going to go to step 3, which is write an equation. So in this problem, it kind of told us what the equation was. We have 18 plus 12 cents per mile. So the per mile is going to go right here. Oh, we said we're going to use m. And then he wants it to be exactly equal to $30. So writing our equation here was really easy because they told us the information we had to write in. So writing the equation for this problem was really not all that bad. Now to solve the equation in step 4, we want to take 18 plus 0.12 m equals 30 and break this down and solve it. Probably going to need a calculator on this one if you don't have one because of the decimal. So let's solve it and see what we come up with. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 18 from both sides. 18s are going to cancel out and leave us on the left side, 0.12 m. And that's going to be equal to 30 minus 18, which is going to be 12. From here, we want to take and divide 0.12 on both sides. And when we divide 0.12, those are going to cancel out. And it's going to leave us m equals So real quick in your calculator, take and say 12 divided by 0.12, and we get what as an answer? 100? Just 100?
Yes.
Perfect. So we get m equals 100. So basically what this is telling us when we reread the question is that we're going to be able to use, since m is equal to the number of miles, we're going to be able to drive how many miles? 100 miles. So to check our answer to make sure it makes sense, let's take that 100 and plug it back in for m. So we have 18 plus 0.12. M is going to become 100 when we substitute it in, and then that's equal to 30. So to simplify this, we want to say 12 times 100, so what's, or 0.12 times 100, so 0.2 times 100 is going to be equal to what? 12. So we get 18 plus 12 is equal to 30. So 18 plus 12, when we add those two together, we get what? 30. So does 30 equal 30? Yes. So since it equals 30, then we know that is our correct answer. All right, go ahead and review example 3. We're going to work that one together as a class. So go ahead and see if you can work that one out, and then once you're finished, we'll begin today's assignment.